I used to get in front of a room of students, and I would say, if you learned anything from me after this hour is up, the word that you need to remember is network. Network, network, network. And I say that's how I built my entire career. And I started, and everybody has a different path. My path was through volunteering through the academy.
Welcome to the Master the Media podcast. I'm your host, Amy Gorin, and I'm here with a very special guest today, Keri Gans. Welcome, Keri.
It's so much fun to be here.
Thank you so much for being here. Keri is not only one of the OG media dietitians, she was also my early on mentor when I started in my media dietitian journey. So I'm really excited to have her here today. And she's going to share all about how she became a media dietitian and what she's doing these days. And I'll read her quick bio. Keri is a nationally recognized registered dietitian nutritionist, author of The Small Change Diet, and host of the Keri Report podcast. She's had more than 2 decades in the media, and she's built a career as a trusted, highly sought-after nutrition expert with her advice featured in more than 1,000 articles across outlets including Good Morning America, The Dr. Oz Show, Fox Business, U.S. News and World Report, oh my goodness, and so many more. And she has worked with many brands as a spokesperson, and she served as a national spokesperson for the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. Welcome, Keri.
Great to be here. It's so funny though, because I was telling my husband I was going to be on your podcast. And I was like, you might have heard me over the many years speaking about Amy, blah, blah, blah. I was like, I remember when you were working as the nutrition editor at Weight Watchers magazine, and we went out for lunch in Chelsea. I can totally
I remember where we sat and everything too. Yes.
Isn't that crazy? And you were like, I'm going to go to school to be an RD. It was like, whoa. I mean, it's just so wild that I literally remember that moment. So yes, and here we are.
So wild. Yeah. So Keri was you were like one of the first, you would come to my magazines and like bring your, like whatever food company you were working with at the time. And that was like what planted the early seeds for me of like, oh, dietitians can get paid to do this.
There's another career that you didn't think of in the nutrition space, because there weren't that many doing it back then. All right.
It was funny.
Because it was a whole different world.
Yeah, that was like 2000. I don't know, like I don't even know, like 2010.
Because it's just so many years ago, and then that would age us, which we don't. Anyway,
yes, we're both so young.
But yeah, it wasn't as many. I mean, it was a whole different world. When brands found me back then, it wasn't because I had X amount of followers. There was no social media.
Which I'll still argue you don't have to have.
Hello. Okay. But it's wild, but that's how they found us other ways, just because her name was out there in a magazine, and brands just wanted to work with you because of how you could speak in front of other people and how you could communicate in the real world, not behind a camera. So it was a different time, a totally different time.
Before we started recording, Keri and I were talking about how just like actually easy it is to make friends as an adult. And I actually think we should credit that to our media dietitian training, because you can talk to anyone.
You can talk to, I always say I could talk to a wall, and I could sell ice to Eskimos, but
I know. And I always say, I mean, God forbid I never want to go to prison, but like I would entertain myself in a prison cell.
Oh God, my husband, the other day, he said, you would have so much fun here, Keri. And I was like, all right, let's not get carried away. I would not be making this. Maybe I would make friends. Anyway, but yes, I think it is also, I mean, think about it. Probably back in the day, I was doing media events where it was all done. We would invite people. I mean, that still happens, but not as much. Where it used to be RDs and more so nutrition editors from all the different magazines, and they would come to an event, and you had to be able to work a room. And I used to feel like I loved it because it was like a party. I was always getting to throw a party. And you couldn't be in the corner on your phone. You needed to be talking. And that's why the brands hired you, because of your outgoing personality.
Which Keri definitely has. So let's talk about, because I have so many questions I wanted to ask
Yes,
you that I
ask
know our
away.
audience will want to hear. But let's talk about first how you got started and just, because like you said, being a media dietitian, it's different and the same as it was like 10, 15, 20 years ago. And I think you as being one of those originals, but like you're still there, you're still doing it, and like you've pivoted with the time. So like let's just talk about all of that.
How it all began.
Yes.
I used to get in front of a room of students, and I would say, if you learned anything from me after this hour is up, the word that you need to remember is network. Network, network, network. And I say that's how I built my entire career. And I started, and everybody has a different path. My path was through volunteering through the academy. First, locally, first for the Greater New York Dietetic Association. I was their PR chair. Then I moved on to the state level. I was the state PR chair, and I was the state annual meeting chair. And then I was the state, New York State's president. Loved it. I mean, I loved leadership. And all along, that was networking. And then I became a spokesperson for the academy. And as that happened, it already started happening a little before. I'd be contacted by some magazines and they would want to interview me. But most of it then happened as a spokesperson. And I just kept getting interviewed and interviewed. And and let me just step back 1 second on that. A lot of RDs are like, they have a bucket list. I want to become a spokesperson. I want to write a book. I had no bucket list. I wanted to be a spokesperson because 2 of my best friends became spokespeople. They're like, they're spokespeople. I'm like, okay, I'll do it. It'll be fun.
It's a
And
club.
and then as a spokesperson, it was the editors that worked with me. They started saying, Keri, do you have a book? I'm like, a book? No, I don't have a book. They're like, well, you should have a book because we would like to put after your name, author of. And then I wrote a book. And then and everything just kept piling onto that.
It's so funny.
Yeah. It's like sometimes, and what I will say in that is that always leave your door open for opportunities. Like I didn't plan it out. No, I know, again, so many other RDs will sit here and had a whole different story. It was all planned out. I just went with whatever started coming my way. And when I started out as an RD, I thought I was just going to do private practice. That's what I thought.
Because you started working in a hospital, right?
Yes, that's where I began, where I think every RD should. Yeah, a lot of people feel differently about that. And I loved working at the hospital. Again, others will say, oh, what a terrible experience. Nobody listens to you. You make them listen, right? I had no problems in the hospital. I loved it. And because of circumstances, I ended up leaving and then going into private practice, which I thought I would just do. But that's not the path that I wound up on. And the media path is where I wound up. And for years, kept patients a lot. Like a lot of my time was still devoted, and the balancing act became a little crazy because I didn't want to have to cancel if I had to be on TV. So I then devoted more time to just strictly media work.
I think that's a really good path because you always, and this is probably something that you and I talked about early on. And I think because I used to keep a few patients, I never had as many as you because I just couldn't, I just didn't actually want to do the juggling act.
Get it? I get it.
But it's good to be able to say, like, I tell my
Oh,
patients this,
yes.
when you're doing
Even
media interviews.
even to this day, I have some patients. I mean, I'm not actively looking for patients. I have some that I've had for years and years and years. But I like to be able to still know what others are thinking, because we could get a little lost in the RD nutrition space and lose contact with the people, right?
Yeah, and it's like
They
things
have
that are
problems.
so obvious to us are like
Right.
light bulb moments.
Right. And it might not be to them. And I think that's also important. And I think understanding the wants and needs of others and not just professionals, and just not touting our own information of what works for us, because that's whole nother thing and another pet peeve of mine. I have so many pet peeves, but
I
anyway.
I'm also going to throw out there for listeners that, so like I chose to stop seeing patients, and I think whatever you choose to do is totally fine. But I still, you know, every dietitian gives out free advice to their friends and family. And so that's the part that keeps me kind of like, oh, that's the question you're asking. Like
Yeah,
that's
right.
that's the headline you read and misinterpreted, or the reporter misinterpreted. And coconut oil is not like horrible for you or wonderful for you. It's just there.
Let's not talk about seed oils, my friends. Okay, so how many?
I just went to Europe, and like I went to Slovenia, and every table in like the restaurants, it was like pumpkin seed oil because they make it locally. And I'm like, thank you. Thank you.
I played Mahjong last night and somebody made a terrible remark about preservatives. And I was like, okay, let's just stop right here. Okay, there is a purpose. We're not going, but it's just funny how consumers, the information, but that's what we do. So you're right. We don't need a patient sitting next to us. We just need to look at friends and family and fellow Mahjong players and realize is never done.
Exactly. And there's the other thing that I don't know if you remember telling me this, but I'm going to bring it up. So early on, you were like, Amy, never say no to any media interview. And I like literally followed your advice for years until I was like, okay, my head's going to explode if I really never say no. And then,
Okay, even I occasionally now draw the line. Okay. I mean, if I'm away and on vacation or whatever, I will say no. But the truth is, they still always come back.
Well, and
If you're a newbie and you really want to be in the space, I think making yourself available is key. And I think that's why I have reporters that have been coming to me for more years than I can even remember. And they do that because they know they can count on me.
Yeah, they know you're going to meet your deadline. You're going to give them good sound bites. They don't have to do any work with your quotes. And so even if like you say no, you probably are like, okay, I can't do it, but I have this friend who's an immediate dietitian who can do it.
And sometimes I will. If it's a real sports one, I'm like, you know what? I'm not the one for you.
Yeah.
All right. If you have a real, I think that's also makes a very good expert is knowing when you're not the expert and you send it on to somebody who is. And then you give them this resource as, let's say now, a sports dietitian. It only makes me look better because I'm not pretending to be something I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, it's like today with GLP-1s, and I'm like, that is not my specialty. Like, here's my colleague.
Let them talk. No, see, but that's what we should be doing.
Yeah, and it just helps us all build each other up.
And I know people will think today, well, I can get all the information from AI. I don't necessarily need to, but it's not the same.
No.
It's nothing, on the AI front. I'm a huge fan and I think it can be useful. It's a tool, but it doesn't make you an expert. So if somebody again is coming and they need information about like running a marathon, I'm going to give them an RD who runs marathons.
Yeah. It's also like, I hired a dietitian for my husband because, you only want to get so close to the personal stuff.
Yes. Oh, always refer out. I mean, there are people I won't see and I have a friend for you. This is who you could see. Hey, I would love to send my husband to a nutritionist, but he won't.
There you go.
So, 30-something years with him and he still won't listen to me. Anyway.
What's the funniest? When my husband's like, oh, this dietitian said this thing about how, like fiber. And I'm like, I think I told you that about 5 years ago. But, it's fine. So let's talk about like, just what have been some of your favorite moments of being a media dietitian?
Okay. The one that always comes, I mean, there's so many, but the most exciting, and this is when you never know. I literally got an email years ago from somebody in Costa Rica.
Wow.
And they were working with Hellmann's mayonnaise. And at first I was like, this is too strange. This can't be. Long story short, I went on a media tour in Costa Rica and it was incredible. I had my own translator with me the whole time, which was so cool.
Wow.
And we went from TV station to TV station. And yes, I spoke in English, but then they had the translator that was also able to say what I was saying. And it was all for Hellman's Mayonnaise. I got to also promote my book at the time, The Small Change Diet. And it was an incredible experience. They were just amazing people. But it's funny also things you remember. So they also did my hair and makeup for one of the segments. And I swear I never had bigger eyelashes on my than I did. All right. They were, I mean, they were huge. It was like, this is not my face anyway. But it was just,
That's so funny.
it really was incredible. And just, I mean, there's just, that's the one that always rings out, but there's been so many incredible things that I just never thought I would do and meet the people that I would meet, or just how I would even get a job, a brand. Okay. 2006. Okay. Everyone remember, some of you were maybe not even born. Okay. 2006. I was the annual meeting chair for New York State Dietetic Association. And I thought, how cool for turn down service. There used to be a thing called turn down service when people would get mints on their pillows.
Oh, no, it's still a thing. Like and we were
Yeah.
talking, I just went to Europe and they did it
So
there.
Europe, it's not a thing here in the US. Okay, there's no mints. Okay, I think ever since COVID, mints went out the window. Anyway, I said, let's put Adora's calcium chocolate sup
I
on
love it.
on everyone's pillow. So we did that. Maybe 3 years later, Adora reached out to me and then wanted to work with me. And I was like, oh my God, I put you guys on the pillow. So it was just things like that. Or I had at one time my favorite, they've been around forever. I mean, I eat all foods, meaning I'm not a vegetarian. I was for many years, I'm not anymore. But I used to love, and I still do, the Gardein mock
Oh,
chicken,
yeah.
mock ones. And interesting enough, I was invited to one of their events once years ago, and I started talking to them about how obsessed I am with their chicken fingers. And then this whole thing, which then made me look like an idiot, because I said, I had one at Trader Joe's and I didn't think they were as good. And he looked at me, he's like, Keri, they're ours, they're private label. I was like, oh, okay. Maybe not as astute as I thought I was. But anyway, I ended up working with them for years. It's just, and then I remember this huge event, maybe you were even there. It was incredible. I mean, there's so many wonderful people that I've gotten to work with over the years. And I think that's also it. And brands that I truly, truly believed in, brands that I use, even though my family will sometimes make fun of me and say, oh, so now we're having this vitamin. And I'm like, oh, we're having this vitamin now because I read the science and I too am convinced. And yes, we're all taking it.
I know. It's recently it was like, okay, I gave to my husband, I was like, we're taking this for our brain health now. And he's like, okay.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I take way too many supplements now, but
And you got me hooked on back in the day, like choline. Like I remember when you were working with them and I was like,
fun event.
and oh my gosh, I'm still convinced that my child is as amazing and smart as she is because I took choline while I was pregnant.
Isn't that amazing? But do you remember that party? See, I have memories of
Yes, there were like lemon martinis.
call them Colinis. Yes, for those who don't know me, my little trademark's always been martinis, and yes, we did Colinis. Loved it. So many events, and that's what I love about what I've done. And all of my memories have been at things, at events, with others, and not to, again, I'm going back to, hasn't been just sitting in my home behind a camera and getting, thousands and thousands of likes. And I know that's the way the world has kind of shifted, but all of my amazing memories are being out and doing. And yeah, and then there's of course all the TV spots that were just incredible. Like when I got to bring my niece with me to the Mike and
Oh,
Juliet show, and like those of you probably never even heard of Mike and Juliet show, and I was like a regular on there for debates. which I also thought was interesting. So back in the day, we would debate in person. So it wasn't writing. It wasn't like people being anonymous and saying terrible things. Well, I had that too. But anyway, it would be on air live,
That's so fun.
having to be up against the person. Like somebody would write a book that as an RD, I was like, that makes no sense. And they would bring on that guest who wrote that book, and then they would have me basically rip them apart in a nice way, mind you, very nice way.
Keri's always nice.
But it was like those, I mean, it was exciting. It was fun.
That's so fun. And I mean, it's not like you can't, like, the world has shifted, but there are still in-person events. There's a lot of virtual events, and
Yeah.
like we used to do in person. Like you used to come to my magazine office for
Yes,
desk sides, and now we do those virtually, which is, you know, it's different, but just as awesome.
we do that. And they're still awesome.
Yes,
But but I feel it misses a little something. That's all. And yes,
I
they
know.
still do in-person events 100%. We don't do as many, but we do still do them. And obviously there's still TV, and it all still exists. But I'm going to say the one difference is how a lot of RDs are found. I think a lot of RDs are found now based on their social media following, and not to say that they can't be amazing in person, but I'd say some might not have had the same media training as a lot of others have.
Hold on.
Because a lot of the OGs, we did do rigorous media training.
Yeah,
We did.
that's what we are trying to do at Master of the Media, is actually
Yeah.
media train our people. But yes, I think that I really do think that you can still come in from, there's multiple pathways these days. There's, I mean, traditional in today's space of social media,
Yes.
which is not where I came in. I was resistant to social media for years, which is really funny. If I had just embraced it, I'd have like probably way more followers, but that's fine.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
there's the media path. I think that you really can still get found that way.
Yes, you can, and which is testament. I mean, that's how I'm basically found still. And it's definitely not through my social media,
But
which is okay.
but to your point, it's like the networking component. I mean, that's how I built my entire career. Like, and because it's like you have to take advantage of your network. Because like the minute I started thinking about being a dietitian, I was like, "Hey, Keri, what do you think about this?
And
What should I
didn't
do
you
about?"
love how welcoming we were?
Yeah, and I was just like,
That's
"Okay,
the other thing, is welcoming others into the profession. And
yes,
I think that hasn't always, I don't know, before I went to NYU, I only wish I remembered her name, but I called up somebody, a friend of a friend knew an RD. I called her up to find out about going to NYU or going to Columbia, or I think even Hunter had a program back then, but I might not be remembering correctly. And she wasn't even nice to me on the phone. And I'm like, really? And I vowed never to be her. I only wish I knew who she was, but I don't.
you know what?
Yeah.
I karma's a thing, but no, like you've always been so transparent, which like in my early days, I'd be like, Keri, this brand came to me and I'm thinking about charging them X. What do you think? Like
I'd be like, sometimes, no, that's too low. What are you doing? Don't do that. We're worth so much more.
I know.
Yeah.
I remember my first radio interview I got like $500 for it. And I look back and I'm like, I didn't even want to cash the check. I was so excited, but like that seems so low now.
Because times also have changed. I think more RDs know their worth. And I think that also, I think a lot of RDs will talk to other RDs, hopefully, and try to keep our rates where they should be. And that's not always been the case.
Yeah.
And there's always going to be others out there that might not, don't know their worth and what have you. But overall, it's really important. And let me just say though, starting out, I did do things for free, but different for free. It wasn't working with a brand for free.
Yeah.
All right. It was giving a talk at the hospital.
Well,
All
that's
right.
different. I mean, like the Rotary Club, I did that for free. Like you can still like, and I'm sure you do this too. Like I kind of look at, I don't necessarily have time to do as much community service as I would like, but I say yes to any school or any, like, if you want me to talk to a group of students, it can be 3 students, it can be 100. I will do it, and I will probably do it for free
Yes.
forever.
Yes, because that's also a way of giving back. But I
Yes.
do think for people that need to, fine tune their speaking or whatever at the beginning, some people will get the message drilled in, never work for free. But I think if we're talking about, the hospital or these local things, it's okay at the beginning. Just after a while, then you have to really pick and choose.
Yeah, but there's,
Doing
there's
brand work for free, it just doesn't do any of us justice.
no, because we're trying to, like you went to school for a million years, so you should get paid for that expertise and credentials. But there's always a way to work it. Like if you're like some of our students have been doing these really cool things where like, okay, they're giving a talk to a nonprofit for free. But they're like, hey, can I bring in a brand sponsor? And can we send out an e-blast to your newsletter list of like 20,000? And then the brand is paying them, the dietitian. And so they're still doing their good deed, but they're getting paid.
Yeah, I mean that still that happens actually a lot. And it's a great way but I do feel like working with brands that you would actually either one buy yourself or two give to your children or your parents, meaning I just don't think we should take any brand.
Oh,
And
of
that's what
course
bothers me
not.
when regular consumers think we sell ourselves out. No,
No. I
any
mean,
brand I've ever worked with, I truly, truly believe in.
1,000%. I mean, I was shopping for, because we went to the pediatrician yesterday and the pediatrician was like, we really need to get my, Annabelle, my daughter, eating more like things that use the pincer grass. It's like yogurt melts. I can't tell you, like the first 3 products I found on Amazon have added sugar. And I was like, what is going on?
She doesn't
I would
need
never
those.
feed these to her ever. So then I found a product that I like, and I'm like, okay, maybe I should reach out to them because they're awesome.
Well, when she gets a little older, depending, and we know some added sugar, not to negate, I mean,
Yeah, but
it's
there's no
okay
need at this
anytime, but
age.
you didn't need it at her age right now in this food that you were giving.
Yeah, she's
Okay,
1.
right. And you wouldn't therefore, if a brand came to you with added sugar and wanted you for that particular product, and if they came
No.
to you with something else, you might work with them.
Yeah,
It all depends upon it's not black and white.
yeah, and if you're like, "Okay, we're marketing these yogurt melts for adult snacks," like, I'd be like, "Great, I'll take a little bit of added sugar, but not for my daughter."
Right, and not for like when I look at dog food, dog food very, very select.
Oh, yeah. Cat food.
I'm more select for Cooper than I am for anyone I know. Cooper's my dog. For anyone, but yes, so it all depends upon the situation.
So, gosh, I mean, I kinda just want you to share some of your, favorite tips and or memories, you know?
Okay, I'll share some tips. We'll start with if you are being interviewed, let's just start with a magazine. They reach out. One, I think very important to respond quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, your yes or no. Like I hate to mention my husband again because it sounds like I'm always throwing him under the bus. But he would sometimes be like, "Why are you checking email again?" I'm like, "Because if somebody emails me from a magazine, I am responding ASAP. I just am. That's who I am." And with emails in general, people, please, if someone's, I don't understand why people don't respond quickly or why it takes them
And
days. Like, just
yeah,
respond.
and the
All right,
response can just be, like, acknowledging, like, "Yes,
I
I
got
got
it.
this. I am on it."
Yeah, got it. Thank you. Okay. So, is that pet peeve 1000? No. Okay. Anyway, so respond quickly. But I think what's also important is more is not always better. So I've written many articles myself over the years for US News. I had a regular column in Shape magazine for a while. More is not better. And if I'm asking somebody for a quote, I don't want to have to sit and start doing all the work and editing it and blah, blah, blah. I'm not asking you to write my article. I'm asking you for a quote. And a quote is short, all right? It is not 2 paragraphs long. And it's amazing when I would have to say to send out a request for answers. And could you make this no more than 2 or 3 sentences tops? Okay.
And the question is, like, what's your favorite nutrition gift to give for the holidays? Like, it's not rocket science.
Yeah. And make it short and sweet. All right. And also answer the question. All right. Don't start going off on a tangent to something else. That's more information you give me is not going to make it into the article. Oh, and I'm not always first on this, I'll be honest. But try to be first, because if you get your answers in first, they're more likely to include more of your quotes than somebody who they gets in last, because now they've basically written their article. Now they're going to include one of your quotes because they're like, oh, she responded. But, and not that it matters how many quotes you get in, but if you have some good information to share, why have it wasted?
Or if
So,
you're working with a brand and you want to get that
oh,
brand mentioned,
for sure,
make sure you're one of the first.
one of the first.
And disclose.
Oh, disclose. Now, that's tricky because sometimes the magazine, the outlet, I should say, might not put out your disclosure.
These days are just like a trickier landscape than we kind of grew up with.
But you need to at least know that you did your due diligence. Anyway, so that's the first and foremost. One is, so we're talking now just like a print or an online interview, whatever, because there's really no print. So it's all the same. Magazines, respond quickly, short and sweet, and to the point, and quick. Okay, done. Then I think if you're doing anything on air of any kind, check your lighting. If you're doing it, oh, so there's two different schools here. So now we're at home. We're at home, and yes, right now is my background great? No, I'll be honest, not a great background.
You
I would
don't have lights.
the lighting's great.
Yeah.
Okay. But the background's not good. And I wouldn't do this if I was
It's not bad though.
I wouldn't use it. I wouldn't use this for if I was right now talking to a TV station, this would not be my background. I'd probably go downstairs in my building where we have workspaces, and I would have done it there because I have very pretty backgrounds. Probably would have done it there, but I love the lighting here, so it's kind of a dilemma. And so working from home and doing interviews, just know your space, know what looks good. I mean, hey, I'll be honest, because it was Amy, I even put on a little makeup today. I don't always.
Thank you. It's funny, when we were buying our house, I drove our realtor crazy because I'd be like, no, I don't even want to see that house. The lighting looks bad.
Right. Yeah, I'm set up, full disclosure, I'm set up in front of a big window right now because that is the best lighting, especially if you wear glasses, because I have a ton of ring lights, and no matter where I put them, I get a reflection of my
I mean,
glasses.
you can see my ring light right now, but whatever. It's
Yeah,
real.
and maybe because I don't see so well, but I'm not gonna be close. But yeah, and yeah, make yourself look presentable depending upon what you're doing. And that goes to, oh my God. Okay, so now I'm going into a whole different conversation. And
Yes. Yes.
Amy's used to my mind how it goes off. I'm now on a different path, a different road. So not that I want to tell anyone how to dress, because I'm not here to do that. But if you're going to any kind of networking event, can we look professional? Just say. That's all. And professional can be style, of course. I mean, my past life, I was in fashion, and I used to sell clothes, wholesale. Now I sell lifestyle and health, something I'm a little more passionate about, kind of. But as much as it's important on TV, I think a lot of our beliefs, though, that were over the years, I think we can step out a little. Like it used to be, don't wear hoop earrings, but I wear hoop earrings. And, even if I was going on national TV right now, you look at the anchors and how they're dressed. I'm like, I could wear hoops.
Well, it used to be like a broadcast host couldn't have long hair. Like it would have to be your length.
Well, the thing is, I will. Here's a story, but not a great story.
Oh no.
So I used to wear my hair curly for years, but I did find it with TV a problem. One time I was being interviewed for Nightline, and they kept coming over and pushing my hair. And I'm like, these are curls. You can't flatten my head. I swear all they kept doing was pushing down my curls, and it was awful. Then I also did an episode on Dr. Oz, and somehow this was a heated debate. It was after this heated debate, I thought I needed more media training, and I spoke to somebody and like, no, you did everything right. Just the person who, whatever, I got, whatever, it was a nightmare. It was a great segment, but afterwards I got a lot of pushback. Anywho, but after that segment and I saw the back of my head, somehow I don't know how I got the back of my head. Don't even ask. But message, make sure the back of your head looks really good.
Okay.
And after that, I blew my hair straight. So that's what I did with my curls. Okay. Not to say if you have curls, don't rock them, because you should rock those curls. But I did find that my hair looked better on camera straight.
I mean, your hair is curlier than mine, but like I can never control what it's gonna look like when it's
Are you
curly.
still going to your special person, your colorist who did the most amazing highlights all those years?
Yeah,
Just,
I pay her to come to my house all the way from New York City.
oh my God. Okay.
So she
You
drives here on her
because
motorcycle.
I don't think you can color it. Usually it's like 3 different color highlights. It's like the coolest. They're so cool. All right. See, I went on a whole other path. Now we're talking about highlights.
So,
Bring it
okay.
back.
You are not only a dietitian, you're a yoga teacher. So let's talk about how, because I think that's always like a aha moment of how do you combine those? How do you get brand work as, some of your brand work has been as a yoga teacher.
Yeah. So what happened was, I mean, it was a while, and I can't remember what year. I felt like I was getting a little stagnant. All right. I don't have a new book. I'm not planning on a new book. I said everything I want to say. Uh, not doing another book. And a lot of people, oh, I know why it all began. It's coming to me now. Because then there was all the people that are chefs. Now, mind you, or they call themselves chefs. Not all chefs. But I do cook. People don't think I do. I don't know why, but I cook a lot.
I've done cooking challenges with you. You
I,
cook.
I cook. I don't think I cook. People think I just go out with the martinis. No, I cook a lot. I just can't take pictures of food. I just can't. And I didn't want to. It was always like I became an RD not to create recipes and not to photograph my food. That just was never my thing. So I'm like, well, maybe I need another thing. So what's my other thing? And I love yoga. I've been practicing yoga for almost 30 years now. And I'm just huge fan. So it's like, okay. And I used to take pictures, started doing pictures of me taking yoga, doing yoga. And then I was like, well, I might as well become a yoga teacher. And whether or not I actually teach or not. So it was during right before the pandemic. Like in 2018, 2019, I think became certified. And then was teaching at a studio on the Upper East Side. But I decided to bring yoga in. And that really was a smart move for a while and I say for a while because I've kind of moved on to taking photos of myself doing yoga. I just can't be bothered. And yeah.
You have
So
grandkids.
sometimes I still do it and
Yeah.
I love it. The same way I love pickleball, but I'm not taking pictures of me. I don't know. Sometimes I have to be present, and I feel if I'm taking pictures, I'm not as present.
Honestly, I feel like the same. Like, and I think that's like a whole different conversation, but
Yes.
just for people listening, like it is okay not to document every aspect of your life on social media.
Yes, yes. So anyway, and anyway, so yoga just became a thing that I would start offering up. And yeah, it was fun because I did some in-person events teaching yoga. I did during the pandemic for Today's Dietitian. We offered 2 free classes of me doing yoga, which they got an amazing turnout. So it was fun. It was nice to bring something in that was not nutrition related but lifestyle related. And I think we also in this world, in no matter whatever career you're in, is being open to pivoting. It's life. And back to a whole discussion of me moving. For those who don't know, I used to live in New York City. Now I live in New Jersey, place I never thought I'd live in a million years. Other New Yorkers will understand when I say that, but I love it here. And it's kind of a pivot, and I've made lots of friends, and it's just being flexible. And I think that is a message how we need to be in our lives and in our profession. So if we're stuck doing things only one way, then we might not see as many opportunities.
Yeah, because it's like how many different iterations of being a dietitian have you had? Like how like you probably can't even count them.
No, no, no. Still thinking, I'm still waiting for things to turn around again. We'll
Yeah.
see. And we don't never know what will happen. We just don't. And that's the beauty of it. I think that social media has definitely changed a lot in our field, but not only our field. And now we'll see how what that does in our field, because it's not only our field, it's all these other fields that there's just such a shift because new technology just keeps changing things. And until I'm completely ready to retire, then I have to be willing to accept it in some way. And like, that's like with social, as much as I hate it, and I do, everyone. Yes, I don't know. I just
I
don't.
You and me both. Guys,
Okay,
I
but
don't like
but I'm
social
on
media
it.
either.
I'm on it. That's all I can say. So I do have an account.
And you're
I do
supporting your community. I think
I
that's the
do
most important
post
part.
I do post information, and but I don't it's just not my life. My life is filled with other factors, and that includes, and I think it also depends where you are in your life. You know, Amy, new mom, baby, even though more entering toddler stage soon,
Yeah,
let
I
me
mean, and I'm protective of like showing her face on social media. That's not going to happen for us, and
she doesn't want to years later be like, "Mommy, why did you post this?" You don't want that. But I get it. I mean, I do post, not often. I post sometimes of my grandchildren, and I did ask my son if that was okay.
Well, your husband doesn't work in cybersecurity.
That's true.
So-
Neither does my son. So we're good. Okay.
Well, let's talk about, because I think it's like being a media dietitian is kind of one of the only careers where you can truly just be like, I'll just do it really until I die. I mean, if we're being whatever,
Yes, you could, but sometimes I'm like, maybe I don't know when, I'll just walk away. And maybe, I don't know. And I think that will be totally okay. And I think I will. I do think one day I'll be like, goodbye. I don't think I need to be a registered dietitian till I'm 90 years, 100 years. I just don't.
Fair,
All
fair.
right. I can totally find other things to do with my time. All right.
Yeah.
So
Maybe you'll be a pickleball instructor.
maybe I'll be, who knows? But I don't think I will be doing this forever. I just don't.
But you
And
can do
I
it.
love it.
Yeah.
And it's been amazing, and I continue to do it. And if right now a reporter contacts me, I'm responding. If a brand talks to me, I'm setting up a meeting. If a radio or an Amy Gorin wants me on her podcast, I'm responding. But I'm not going to say that I do see that there will be an end. I do. I just don't know when.
That's
But
fair.
but it is true. I mean, you can do it for quite a while. And it depends though, brands, what they're looking for, who you want to work with, the type of work you want to do. I mean, we also have the beauty, not everyone, but of being select and saying, I'm not just going to work with every brand that contacts me, because some brands have contacted me. I've tried their products and I'm like, this is not helping me sleep. Therefore, if this is supposed to help me sleep and it's not working, you don't want to work with me.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit more about, because I think that's also like it's something that we don't talk enough about, is when to say no. And there's a lot of times you can and should say no.
And I do that. So if a product is sent to me, because if a brand contacts me and it's a product with certain claims that you can see a short-term effect. I'm not talking about a supplement that we really won't know, like a calcium supplement, let's say. We won't know right off the bat or for years. Anyway, I will check it, I will try it. And if it doesn't, really do what it's supposed to, one. Or if it's a brand that tastes awful. I've been sent something that I'm like, oh, I could never eat this. And it won't only be by me. If I think all the ingredients are good, then I'll ask like my husband to taste it or my son to taste it, because everyone has different taste buds, right? So maybe it's just not for me. But if everybody's like, oh no, this is bad, then I probably don't want to work for that brand. So, and over the years, like if it's very sports oriented, I don't think I'm the one. Now, if you want somebody sports, meaning more like yoga like, then I'm your girl. Okay. But if you want it, if we're doing a gel for marathon runners, then why don't you work with somebody who does marathons? So I have been select over the years, even though I've worked with more brands than I can count, and brands that people would find shocking. I worked with McDonald's. And I did, oh, that was fun. I did it they were introducing the apple slices.
Oh my gosh.
So I did that when they introduced the apple slices. I've worked with them. The best one, and people are going to think this is unbelievable that I even did this. And some of my friends still make fun of me, but listen why I worked with them. I worked with Alestra. Okay, now, for those of you who never even heard of Alestra, when it first came out, it had a warning on the label, that it might cause, I don't remember what it was.
It was like basically diarrhea.
Basically, and like, GI upset.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is they rushed into production that was based off of one small study. They then found that that didn't happen. All right. It did not, all the research pointed that it didn't happen, but they couldn't change. It was a complicated thing. So I was called in to help with messaging. But I was like, yes, they sent me all the studies and all the stuff that went against what the original said and what had happened. And I'm like, okay, I can work with you. So yeah, and it wasn't like selling out. It was because the messaging was wrong. And I was brought in to help. And I love that. But that was probably one of the strangest ones. But I've also worked with Burger King. Oh, when they came out with their lower fat French fries. Now, do we need lower fat French fries? I don't know. I mean, I like regular French fries. But are there some people that at the time there was a reason for this? Okay. And again, was I out there promoting French fries? You bet. Because guess what? We can eat French fries every once in a while, just not every day. So it's saying yes also sometimes to things that people think are crazy. And then they're saying no to things like people would be like, why did you want to work with them? Like, that's a perfectly great product. Well, I mean, I probably wouldn't work with the chicken people because I don't eat chicken. And I think chicken's an amazing food. I don't like the taste of it. So how am I going to get out there promoting chicken when I personally don't eat chicken? And now the chicken people are never contacting me. But I eat beef. I love beef. I love beef, and they've never contacted me either. But anyway.
Or tofu. Yes. I once got contacted by the pork board, and we didn't end up working together, but it was like, we know you don't eat meat, Amy, but it was like the campaign was kind of about like how you can incorporate pork into a household that is mixed. So I eat plant-based, my husband eats the world and everything. And how does that?
A lot of times it's true. It's about the messaging that they want.
Yeah.
And see, that's the other thing that I've had qualms with over the many years of doing this is when the consumer thinks whatever we're saying is like BS or whatever, but don't they understand that so many times we help craft that messaging? That's why we're hired.
Yeah.
Because I don't just say anything. I need to review that messaging. And then if I don't think, like, even if it's like, if they make a claim and I'm like, yeah, wait a second, you can't say that way. You can say it this way, but you can't say it that way. And that's the beauty of also doing what we're doing, is because we can help craft of what is said in a way that we feel the consumer will be given the truth and will feel good about it.
And I think that's a really important point to bring up, because that's something that it's easy to lose sight of, that we have that power. But even like the little nuances of this food helps prevent cancer versus this food prevents cancer. Huge difference.
I'm a huge advocate of may.
Yes. May versus, can is a whole different word. Like,
I get a little confused over can may. But I always, this food helps or this food may. Always, I'm a may helper.
Yeah. Okay? And just like
put the may in. I've told reporters, put that may in.
Yeah, you could say may help. And this is like a whole, like, you and I both come from like scientific backgrounds of like, I was super sciencey trained at Weight Watchers. But the word can has a different scientific nuance that's more open.
It sounds more like it will.
Yeah.
It may sounds well, it also may not. And I think that's important. I think the words we use are very, and I think what those watching this podcast right now need to feel comfortable. Remember this one thing: we're the experts. Okay, so we're working with a brand. It's okay to tell that brand, no, I don't agree. Oh, like people will be like, oh, I don't want to do that. They won't want to work with me. Okay, well, then you don't want to work with them. Okay, because
you can fire your brand clients if they don't let you speak the truth.
Yes, and I love when I get a call from a brand to discuss working with them. I am totally upfront on all the amazing things that I could do for them, and the things that, lost in your pod. Oh, and the things I get so excited. And the things that I can't do for them. And I'm not going to, make promises. And if they're like, this is what we want, I've gotten into trouble over the years. You learn, and I mean trouble meaning when the ask is too big. And you know deep down that you're not going to be able to fulfill that ask. I always then make sure that there's a place to pivot, meaning if the ask isn't fulfilled with X amount of interviews, I'll do a podcast, I'll do something.
Yes. And I think that's something that I learned from you of like the whole, okay, if we, because you never want to leave a brand unhappy. So it's like, if you try and get me on TV and it just doesn't happen, we will do something of equal or greater value to replace that.
Yes, and it's also being clear on who will get you on. Like, I'm very upfront too with most of the brands I've always worked with. You're pitching me. I'm not out there pitching me. You're pitching me. And if you're not, if you expect me to do it, well, then that needs to be upfront. That needs to be in the contract. Otherwise, it's usually the brand pitching because they have the PR agencies. I'm not a PR agency. And anything you pitch, I want to see. My name is associated with. And the thing is, don't be afraid to ask. Speak up. The same back to if you're in a hospital. Okay. Don't be afraid to talk to the doctors. If you're working with brands, and the other tip, going back to all these tips, got to be yourself, right?
Yes.
Because ultimately, you're working with a brand and you don't pretend to be something you're not. And that's why some people feel like this whole imposter syndrome. Own it. Own that you know what you're doing, know that you're good at it, and yeah, and just have fun with it, right? Because if you're not having fun, also, what's the point?
I think that's the biggest piece of it is that this work is really, really, really fun. It should be really fun. And if it's not, there's a problem.
Right. And that's why, back to my favorite conversation, and that's why I don't do a lot of social media because I don't find it fun. And those of you who do, yay, enjoy, have fun with it. But if you don't feel terrible. All right. And then I know this is for all the media dietitians out there, but I also want to give a shout out to those who choose not to work in the media. That's okay too. I mean, you can still take Amy's course, but it's okay. There's so many other things in our field we can do. And, I think media dietitians, it's not as special as it used to be. It's just, I feel it's not. I just don't. I mean, if you go to an event, Amy, if you go to an event, not one of your events, but if you go to an event at Fancy, you used to be a selectman member. It was a very
our little group.
It was more intimate. Now there's like hundreds and they're all media dietitians. I'm like, wait a second. You're not all media dietitians just because you have X amount of followers, whatever. But
I'm just going to bring up.
It used to feel differently. We used to have special press events for us. We were treated like royalty.
I mean, we got to go to Europe and like stay at 5-star hotels. And
it was different, but we did different work. And I think now, I just think there needs to be maybe different types of media dietitians.
Well, that's the thing is like for you guys who are listening and you're like, I don't want to be in front of the camera. I don't want to be on social media. Then, don't consult with a restaurant, help make their menu healthier, create messaging for a brand's website.
You did that, didn't you? You did that. Big thing. Right.
I worked with Panda Express and
I remember that. See, think about like people saying you worked for Panda Express. Wow. Ugh. But look,
I got to help them reduce their added sugar, reduce their added sodium.
Yay.
People do eat fast food. I eat fast food once. Like Keri and I have been to Subway together on a road trip.
At an airport. You can eat fast food. But it's like there's so many other things. And like to your point, you can be a media dietitian and different, like maybe it is just online media and maybe it is just being on this side of the camera. Maybe you're doing a podcast. I mean, there's also so many people doing podcasts now. It's a whole nother story.
But like, I think this is way more fun personally than social media. So,
oh my God, so much more fun. But I much prefer just sitting and talking to a person. Like I said, I could talk to a wall, even though you're so much more. But yes, this is how I like to communicate. And I feel like, but there's also writing. I mean, it's, I think a little harder today, but people could do Substack. I mean, I don't do that.
That's a big thing. Yeah. And we have an episode on how to do a Substack and how to make that monetarily worthwhile if you guys are interested in that.
That's great. Yeah. So many other things you can do.
What is like one more thing that you want to leave our listeners with? Like one last thing.
Oh, it's supposed to be media related.
It can be, It can be whatever you want it to be.
I rather look at life goals. And I just think that we can't lose sight of other things in our lives. So I know we get caught up. It's important. I mean, we all want to make money and we all want to be able to buy nice things. And yes, I've had more jeans and shoes and all of that. Okay.
Guys,
But
I don't like fancy shoes, by the way.
I have so many fancy shoes in my closet that I don't wear anymore. And I'm starting to sell a lot of them because they're taking up space. But at the end of the day, there's other things. And I know I'm supposed to sit here and talk to you about, your careers. And
Oh,
I just feel being older and a little wiser, it's like, don't make it only about your career. And totally off where you're going to be like, why is she even saying this? Save money. Okay. I'm telling every young dietitian out there,
invest money.
invest. Do not spend all your money. Okay. That's all I have to.
No,
That's
I think that's really wise. And what Keri's not saying is she moved to New Jersey to be near her grandkids and be a
yes.
grandma. And I
Yes.
think it's wonderful.
And I love it.
And
I love that I can see them whenever I want, and I can see them for a short amount of time. Okay. Or, I could go to a little grandparents' luncheon, or I could go to a little clap out when they graduate second grade. And this Friday to my 11-year-old's a Broadway performance. I mean, it's
oh,
awful, it's called Broadway boot camp. But
off, 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 Broadway.
off Broadway, but those things are just so special. So don't lose sight of them.
They
And I
are.
think that people can lose sight of that.
I mean,
I just think we need to also, yes, work hard, enjoy what you're doing, stay true to yourself. That's important.
yeah, live. I agree with that. I mean, I have so many professional accomplishments I could talk about, but like the thing that I'm the most proud of is my daughter.
Yeah,
She's
I get it.
amazing.
I get it. And mostly no one can really see, but I have a little four-legged creature over there.
I see his little ear.
Yes, everything. Yes, I have 3 grandkids. Then there's it. So enjoy the little things. Enjoy the little things.
Yes.
That's what I think is important for everyone to remember, that
I
there's other things outside of work. And you know what? Everyone is going to be doing stuff, and forget about keeping up with the Joneses because that's going to drive you crazy, and just be who you are.
I love that so much. Thank you so much, Keri. And where can people find you
Um,
online? Now that we just talked about that we don't like social media.
my name, Keri Gans. That's where I am on Instagram.
No, it's okay. We like Keri likes social media sometimes.
Or if you want to just find out more about me, you go to my website, which is Keri Gans NY, because yes, I lived in New York and now I live in New Jersey and I need to change that. But for now, it's just my name,
Part of who
NY.
you are. It's like Sex in the City, you know? Love it. Thank you so much, Keri. And for
Yeah,
you
it
guys
was
who are
so much fun. So much fun.
this was so much fun. And for you guys listening and you're like, hey, I want to be a media dietitian, however that looks for you, come join our upcoming masterclass and just go to masterthemedia.co/masterclass and you will learn how to be a media dietitian, how to make money as a media dietitian. It's totally free.